What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the Pixel 7 Pro to the Pixel 10. So I really like this comparison. It's a good way to save some money, and also you get the telephoto lens because they now added it to the base model. But I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I know a lot of people are kind of excited to do this one. But they just had a sale with this thing. It came down in price to like $600, but now it's back to $799. Now, I was telling people you can go ahead and trade in your Pixel 7 Pro, and we should get, last time I remember, we'll get around maybe 200 or 300. So Pixel 7 Pro, 128 gig, yes. All right, so around $240, which is not terrible. It brings the price down, a little bit. It's not, too crazy, but it's a decent trade-in, I guess. But yeah, that will bring the price down if you want to have the Pixel 10. Now, is it worth the upgrade? Let's go ahead and just go through everything. I really like the design on the Pixel 10. I think it's my favorite design in any smartphone right now. I just really love this camera island. I think Google did an excellent job. The colors are also very nice with the Pixel 10 series as well too. I really love this blue color. It's got a two-tone kind of thing going on where it's a little darker on the camera right there. They both have that glossy finish, but you don't really see fingerprints and smudges on these phones. And also the Pixel 7 Pro is going to be a bit taller as well. Now, as far as the weight goes, the Pixel 10 actually is going to feel, a little bit hefty at 204 grams because it has such a big battery in here. But the Pixel 7 Pro is going to be a little bit bigger at 212 grams. And I would say that, it's a lot more comfortable to hold the Pixel because it's a lot more like curved. So in the palm, it feels a little bit more comfortable. So if you have smaller hands, then the Pixel 10 is actually very, very comfortable. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant, and that's pretty much it for the hardware here. All right, so let's talk about the displays. Of course, you're going to have a bigger panel on the Pixel 7 Pro at 6.7 inches. It is an LTPO AMOLED display, 120 Hz HDR10+, 1500 nits peak brightness, 1440p and 512 for the PPI. And it's a very nice looking display. You have really good colors on here. I would say the colors look a little bit more like vibrant on the Pixel 7 Pro. And yeah, you have 88.7% screen to body ratio. So you have a 6.3 inch display on the Pixel 10. It's OLED, 120 Hz HDR10+ as well. The improvement we have here is that it is 3000 nits peak brightness, so it's a lot brighter outdoors. It's a 1080p panel 422 for the PPI with the Victus 2 glass. I would say the display looks very good. Even when you look up close on the Pixel 10, it still remains very sharp looking when it comes to the icons. So I would say, this really depends on if you want a, smaller panel here. But I would say the only real improvement here is going to be max brightness. Also, something that you may or may not like is that it is completely flat, the Pixel 10, and the Pixel 7 is a curved panel, as you guys can see. So I would say, it depends. A lot of people like the flat panels. A lot of people don't like the thick bezels on the Pixel 10 as well. It just really depends, right? But I would say displays are very good on both, but they kind of have those differences. So both phones are running Android 16, and we do get a 5-year pledge on the Pixel 7 Pro. They extended the software support. This phone gets a 7-year pledge at launch with Android 16. And you can see the Geekbench score differences here. This is the big upgrade here if you're a Pixel user, right? Performance is going to be better. So we have the G5 processor, and then we have the Tensor G2 processor. We have 128 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM, and the Pixel 10, it does have the 128 gigs and 12 gigs of RAM as well too. So I would say that performance-wise for general usage is going to be pretty much on point with each other. Like animations and everything, they look very similar on both of these phones running Android 16. So I wouldn't go into this thinking you're going to get a significant speed increase or anything like that. Where the G5 does a way better job is if you've ever had any type of overheating problems on the Pixel 7 Pro, which I did when it first came out. It got hot when I was trying to record outside and it was hot, and flashed a video warning. But yeah, the Pixel 10 is gonna be a little bit quicker, but I wouldn't say it's like upgrade worthy. And these phones aren't really gaming phones, so I would say performance wise, unless you've had issues where your Pixel is crashing and lagging a lot, your Pixel 7 Pro, then this is a great upgrade because you have zero heating issues, at least for me, on the Pixel 10, and really zero performance problems. But as you guys can see, opening apps and like the animations, they feel exactly the same. So I don't think the Pixel 10 is a lot faster in the real world. Benchmarks, yes, they'll say a completely different story here. Now when it comes to gaming performance, like I said, of course you're going to get better performance in the benchmarks, but as you guys can see, they're going to be able to play at the same settings. Unfortunately, there's no 90 or 120 frames on the Pixel 10, and it plays fine. Like I said, it's a lot cooler device, so if you are trying to do like longer sessions of gaming, the Pixel 7 Pro, even right now, it's not super warm, but it is like a little bit warm. But even this phone is able to play PUBG, perfectly fine without like crashing or glitching. It's able to play Call of Duty and a lot of games perfectly fine. So I would say it's not really worth it to upgrade for performance unless you're somebody who is having issues with the Pixel 7 Pro performance. But if you're not, don't expect like a significant upgrade. Like I said, the main thing you'll notice is like if you're recording video and stuff like that, the Pixel 10 and just in general is a lot cooler running GPS and stuff like that. So the probability of it overheating is pretty low for the Pixel 10 compared to the 7. Check out these speakers. We're at max volume. Yeah, the Pixel 10 is really like kicking really hard with this kick sound. I feel like the Pixel 7 Pro sounds a little bit more natural. Cause that's not what it sounds like when you put it on an actual speaker setup subwoofer. Yeah, I like the Pixel 7 Pro sound a little bit more, but they both sound really good. They're both pretty punchy. The Pixel 10 is a bit more punchier, but to me that's not an accurate sound what this actually sounds like. But yeah, I do like the speakers on both, so I don't have an issue with the speakers. One very nice improvement that they've made with the Pixel 10 that you will like if you're somebody who uses a fingerprint scanner. You'll notice that the fingerprint scanner is a lot quicker on the Pixel 10. It's because they're now using an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, so it just feels a little bit more instant. It feels a little bit more premium. The Pixel 7 Pros is not bad. You can always use Face Unlock as well, as you guys can see it registering there. Hold on. Yeah, so this is not bad. You just have to hold it just like a little bit. So I don't think it's something that most people would even notice, honestly. But yeah, if you feel like you have a problem with the fingerprint scanner or you feel like it's slow, it is improved on the Pixel 10. So the cameras are, kind of the big deciding factor here. And I'm very curious to see what you guys think. Because, we got Pixel 7 Pro to the 10. Are the cameras better? A lot of people are going to be upgrading solely for that fact. And let's just talk about these specs. So the 7 Pro has a 15 megapixel standard, 48 megapixel periscope telephoto, 5 times optical zoom, get you all the way up to 30 times. And then we have 12 megapixel ultra wide, 4K 60, 10.8 megapixel selfie camera, and that shoots in 4K 60. The Pixel 10 has a 48 megapixel standard, 10.8 megapixel telephoto. This also has the 5 times up to 20 times. So we do get a little bit more zoom on the Pixel 7 Pro, which is pretty nice. 13 megapixel ultra wide, 4K 60 as well, 10.5 megapixel selfie, also shoots in 4K 60. Now, let's talk about the battery performance. This is where the Pixel 10 actually just completely wipes the Pixel 7 Pro. The battery life is way better. It's a lot better. So if you're looking for a good battery upgrade, this is definitely it. So here's pretty much what's going on. You have a 4,970 milliamp hour battery on the Pixel 10. We have 30-watt charging. We also have Qi 2 charging as well too. So you can basically use like the little MagSafe accessories. And yeah, the battery life is much better because the Tensor chip is much better. It's not draining power unnecessarily. Now, the Pixel 7 Pro, while the battery isn't horrible, it's a 5,000 milliamp, 23-watt charging. You also have reverse wireless charging, which is something that the Pixel 10 does not have. I would say that the Pixel 7 Pro, because of the Tensor chip being so inefficient, this phone, it just drains during like standby time way faster than the Pixel 10. It's not even close. The Pixel 10 will last you all day easily. The Pixel 7 Pro, if you're doing a little bit more intensive stuff, it'll start to get a little warm and it just drains power. So I'm curious to see, like, do you guys have any battery issues with the Pixel 7 Pro? Because to me, it's just average battery life. Like, you can kind of get through the day with this phone as a lighter user for sure, but doing anything more intense on their phone, it'll drain. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.